The old bus rumbled down the deserted street. It was 2 a.m., and the only passenger, a man in his 30s, sat alone in the middle seat. The rest of the seats were empty, as were the windows, which were covered in thick black film. The driver didn't bother turning on the bus's lights. As the bus approached its last stop, the driver leaned over and whispered to the man, "When you get off at the next stop, don't look back. Whatever you do, don't look back." The man nodded, confused but intrigued. When the bus stopped, the man stepped out onto the dark street. He thanked the driver and started walking away. But as he walked, he heard footsteps behind him. They were heavy and slow, like the footsteps of an old person, but there was no one behind him. He turned around and saw no one, so he continued on, trying to ignore the sound. Then his phone buzzed. He pulled it out and saw a message from an unknown number. It read, "You shouldn't have looked back." He ignored it, assuming it was a prank. But then the footsteps began again, louder this time, and he could hear the heavy breathing of the person or persons behind him. He started to walk faster, his heart pounding in his chest. He dared not look back, but he couldn't help himself. He turned his phone's camera on selfie mode and slowly turned around. Behind him stood a row of pale, emotionless faces. All of them were staring directly at him, and the bus was nowhere to be seen. The man screamed and stumbled backward, knocking over a nearby trash can. He turned and ran, the sound of his own breathing and the footsteps behind him growing louder and louder until they were right behind him. He could feel their hot breath on his neck, hear the scraping of their fingernails on the pavement. He ran until he collapsed. The image of those pale, lifeless faces burned into his mind. When he looked up, he saw the same row of faces staring down at him, their mouths opened wide, revealing rows of sharp, pointed teeth. And as the first passenger stepped out of line and approached him, he knew he wouldn't be seeing those faces ever again, because the last thing he saw before everything went black was the face of the bus driver, the only person he'd seen during the entire ride, standing over him with a bloodied meat cleaver in his hand.